Mantra 23 reads, Na bhumirapo nashavaknirastihi nachanilo mesti nachambaram cha evam viditva paramatmarupam vibhashayam nishkalam advitiyam samasta sakshim sadasadvihinam prayati shuddham paramatma rupam. This is the mantra. न भूमिः आपः न च वह्निः. No earth, no water, no fire, no air and no space are for me. Thus knowing the nature of the Supreme Self, abiding in the cave, without parts, non-dual, witness of all, beyond existence and non-existence, one attains the pure nature of the Supreme Self. Knowing the nature of the Supreme Self, one attains the pure nature of the Supreme Self. The knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. This is the formula. Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. So if you read the mantra, thus knowing the nature of the Supreme Self, abiding in the Kevala, keep it within brackets as of now. Thus knowing the nature of the Supreme Self, one attains the pure nature of the Supreme Self. That's how you have to read it. Thus knowing the nature of the Self, one attains the nature of the Self. And what is that nature of the Self? No water, no fire, no that. Now I'll come to that later. We will see those properties later. First is the concept. Knowing the Self is becoming the Self. In Vedanta, knowing the Self is becoming the Self. Again, becoming in a very limited sense. Knowing the Self is recognizing the fact that you are the Self, you have been the Self always. Again I repeat, this is what we have to understand very clearly. Knowing the Self means becoming the Self. Again when we say becoming, even this word becoming is not a completely right word. Becoming also means what? Recognizing the fact that you have been the Self always. Even when you didn't recognize the fact that you are the Self, you are still being the Self. I do not know that I am the Self. Though I do not know that I am the Self, I am still the Self only. A person who can recognize that becomes the Self. One attains the pure nature. Prayati Shuddham Paramatma Rupam. Prayati comes from the root effort. Prayati means the effort. One attains the pure nature of the Supreme Self by effort. And what is the effort here? Effort here is to accept the fact that I am the Self now and trying to be in it as much as I can. As an effort. In Vedanta, effort at one stage is Karma Yoga, Tapas, Yajna, Dana and all that. At one level, all that is the effort. That is only a preparation for the real. That is only a preparation. Adway looks so difficult. If we say that's only preparation, we will get very disillusioned. So preparation is custom. This has to be much more difficult than that. No, it is only a preparation. The Sravana, Manana, Karma Yoga, and upasa, the bhakti, all that is a preparation. What is the preparation? The preparation to what we can call as nididhyasana. A preparation for nididhyasana. And what is nididhyasana? The effort in nididhyasana. The effort in nididhyasana is the self I am. The self I am. The self I am. In Atma Bodha, I don't know which verse are we in Atma Bodha. In Atma Bodha open mannadan theriyum. I don't remember where we left last in Atma Bodha. In 10 verses, he will say, Tat Brahmeti avadharaye, Tat Brahmeti avadharaye. Have we come to that portion yet? Tat Brahmeti avadharaye.
Sir, we are 53, sir. Verse 53 there.
52, 53, yeah.
Ama.
Aparanam varum. Tat Brahmeti avadharaye. Know this to be iti avadharaye. Iti avadharaye. Sit with you. Sit with the fact that you are Brahman. Sit with the fact that you are Brahman. Sit with the fact that you are Brahman. Iti avadharaye. That is the effort. Who attains Brahman? The one who puts in the effort. And what is the effort? The effort to sit with the true. The effort to sit with your true nature. It means all that which is of not my nature, I should eliminate and I should get out. That is Shravana, Manana, Karma Yoga and all that. Are you able to follow? Shravana, Manana, Karma Yoga is all that. And then when I come to Nididhyasana, which is what Upanishadic starting point is Nididhyasana. Upanishad starts with Nididhyasana level only. Bhagavad Gita starts with Karma Yoga. Look at the gradations. Bhagavad Gita starts with Karma Yoga. Upanishad starts with Nididhyasana. Where do we start our class? There is a mind, there is an intellect. There. முதல்ல கண் இருக்குது, காது இருக்குது, மூக்கு இருக்குது. We are starting there. It's not demeaning, it's not insulting, it is wrong. But even at this level also we have to study the Upanishad and know what we are trying to preach. What we are discussing is even a step below Karma Yoga. What is it? Develop your intellect. Develop your intellect அப்படின்றது யாருக்கு சொல்லி கொடுப்பாங்க? To whom it will be taught? When the human being reaches the age of 8, 7, 8, 9, they are initiated into the Gayatri mantra and they are told the primary important thing that you have to do is to strengthen your intellect. Dhiyo yo naf prachodayat. And the boy or girl is asked to repeat it 100 times in the morning, 100 times in the afternoon, 100 times in the evening. Morning, noon and night, 100, 300 times in a day they are asked to repeat this mantra. Why are they asked to repeat this mantra 300 times in a day? It reinforces the idea. What is the idea? That you have to strengthen your intellect. You have an intellect and it has to be strengthened. For that person who has an intellect, start the spiritual practices. First is realize that you have this thing called intellect. Adile no doubt irukudhu namakku. We still have a doubt whether what is intellect? Is there a thing called intellect at all in the first place? Even if it is there, what is it? For that one who has got this conviction on that, spiritual practices are initiated. What is the spiritual practice that is initiated? Karma Yoga. do Karma Yoga. And to do Karma Yoga, cooperative endeavor is Karma Yoga. And what is the starting point of cooperative endeavor? The starting point of cooperative endeavor is marriage. The first institution that teaches you cooperative endeavor is marriage. That is why from Brahmacharya Ashrama you move on to Grihastha Ashrama. In Brahmacharya Ashrama, all this you are taught theoretically. All the blueprint is given in Brahmacharya Ashrama. The blueprint is given, but having the blueprint is not having the building. You have to start the work. Blueprint vandirthanale you don't get satisfied. In the class we are only giving the blueprint. Blueprint vechinde I believe that I know the knowledge, that is. Are you able to follow? I don't have the knowledge. So what is it? I start actually putting it into practice. Cooperative endeavor. The starting point of spiritual practice is Karma Yoga, cooperative endeavor, and this cooperative endeavor, Karma Yoga, starts with the institution of marriage. In a cooperative endeavor, office teamwork பண்றதுக்கு பேர் cooperative. You working in office and having cooperative endeavor is not. I have a very good rapport with all the team members, sir. That is not cooperative. It is part of it, but it is not that. Cooperative endeavor. And what teaches you the cooperative endeavor? To do Karma Yoga, you need to understand cooperative endeavor. And cooperative endeavor is best learned in marriage. Therefore, as part of Karma Yoga, the human being is asked to get into marriage. Are you able to follow? The human being is asked to get into marriage, is guided to get into marriage because of this reason. And then what happens? They go through the Karma Yoga. Whatever practices of Karma Yoga they do and develop a maturity. And then they say, start practicing withdrawal. Start practicing withdrawal. A mental withdrawal. Withdrawal means a mental withdrawal. After a period of time, it's not just the mental withdrawal, you physically also withdraw. When we say physically withdraw means not running away, making your activities and obligations lesser and lesser and lesser. That is why we say as you grow, don't take up more and more and more obligations. Why? Because that will not allow you to do the Nididhyasana. That would not allow you to, because the entire day is taken away by that. The entire day is taken away by that activity. So there is a gradual, a human being is allowed to mature gradually without hurting himself, because a few desires or the few desires are also catered in and through this. What are the few desires? Where are the few desires that is catered to? In Grihastha Ashrama, when you are allowed to work, what is the desire that you are catered to? What is the desire that you are catered to in Grihastha Ashrama? The first desire that you are catered to in Grihastha Ashrama is, I am a self-sufficient person, sir, now. I am standing on my legs. Because I am earning. Are you able to follow? I am earning. I am standing on my legs. I am not dependent on anybody else. The ego is kind of allowed to consolidate a bit. When the ego is allowed to kind of consolidate a bit, It is not only purely egoistic. Side by side the knowledge keeps saying it is for a higher purpose, sacrifice, share. In all these things, what is implied, what is taught? What you think as self-sufficiency is not self-sufficiency, it is cooperative. It's a cooperative endeavor. It's a cooperative endeavor. Are you able to follow? So what they did in the past, the cooperative endeavor can be maintained only when the interdependency is understood. When the interdependency is not realized, cooperative endeavor will not come. If I say I don't need the other, why will I cooperate with the other? I will cooperate with the other only when I understand that I am in, when I only understand I am in need of the other. Are you able to follow? So what they did in the past, they made the interdependency established very well. How they made the interdependency established very well? See, all this today will look like a redundant, backward, superstitious practices, useless practices of the past, and we are all advanced modern people. What they did, they made a man incapacitated of a few things. They made a woman incapacitated of a few things. Again I repeat, they made a man incapacitated of a few. They made the women incapacitated of a few. When both are but then they have to live life. No, so what they will do? By default, there will be a mutual cooperation, a mutual respect, a mutual cooperation, a mutual respect, what we call as cooperative endeavor, which is what Karma Yoga is all about. By this practices of Karma Yoga and all that, what happens? The quantity of the desire reduces, the quality of the desire also becomes subtler, and then comes the change of direction. Nididhyasana is where the direction is, the change of direction happens. What is the change of direction of Nididhyasana? Upanishad, that is Upanishadic level. What is the change of direction of the Nididhyasana? From making an effort to become pure, the effort now is to recognize the purity that I am already. Thus, knowing the nature of the Supreme Self, one attains the pure nature of the Supreme Self. Knowing the nature means in this way. In the way that I am explaining now, knowing the effort means at one stage you make an effort to become pure. At another stage you say the effort is not to become pure, the effort is to recognize the purity that is there already. For a person at the level of Karma Yoga, this will not be motivating at all. This will not be inspiring at all. This will not make any sense at all. This means the Nididhyasana practice, the starting of the Upanishadic practice will not make that much sense. It will not be that motivating either. Why it will not make sense or be motivating either? Because in the initial stages, when the ego has still not learnt a few realities of life, becoming will be valuable to the ego at one point of time. Becoming something is valuable to ego at one point of time. That's why everybody wants to become something. Maybe the best businessman, maybe the best sportsman. Now I may want to become the best teacher. Are you able to follow? At one stage, the ego will be more interested in becoming transforming, becoming, betterment. So the effort will be motivating in that direction at one stage. A person who has gone through all that already, matured out of it, would say, what would be motivating to that person? What would motivate that person? It is not becoming, for there is no end to this becoming, and there is no destination as, there is no fixed destination as becoming, because I reach a destination and then I realize. Elsewhere we have seen that you reach a destination, it is like a horizon. You reach the destination, closer you get, farther it recedes back. More you travel, more it recedes back. இல்லையா? எப்படி கண்ணுக்கு எட்டின தூரத்திலேயே இருக்கிற மாதிரி இருக்கிறோம், கிட்ட போக போக the distance will be the. Have you ever observed that? It looks so clear, it looks so near, it looks as though that is within your grasp, and the ego thinks what? It's so closer within my grasp. It tries, it gets closer. As soon as it gets closer, it realizes what? As soon as it gets closer, it recognizes. What does it recognize? Farther it recedes. Farther it recedes. If it goes out of our sight complete nullness, we will leave it. We will not bother. It will be within the sight, but not. It will be within the sight, but not reachable. It will be within the sight, but not reachable. Are you able to follow? Pineapple and the bee. Having trimmed half the day. It's so close. The cruel glass, it can see it. It can see the pineapple pudding. It can smell it. But the cruel glass. Are you able to follow? The cruel glass in between. Having tried half a day means, see, in a bee's lifetime, the bee's lifetime itself is one day. Assume it like that. Then only you will understand the point. The bee's lifetime itself is one day. When it says half a day, the best part of life is wasted. And trimmed its flight another way. And when it trims its flight another way, it doesn't make any. The poem says, methinks, I said, in thee I find the sin and madness of mankind. So the ego at one stage has to go through this to recognize the sin and madness. For a person who has recognized the sin and madness, what will they do? Knowing the nature of the Supreme Self, one attains the pure nature of the Supreme Self. Knowing the nature of the Supreme Self, one attains the pure nature of the Supreme Self. As you think, so you become. If you think you are impure, wanting to become pure, you will remain. As you think, so you become is the irrefutable, irrefragable law of life. Yad bhavam tad bhavati. That's a rule. As you think, so you become. Yad bhavam tad bhavati. Yad bhavam tad bhavati. As English la sollumbodhu, we say, as you think, so you become. If you think that you are an impure person going to gain purity, deep down what are you convinced about? Deep down you are convinced about your impurity. So what are you thinking about? You may say I am thinking about purity, but deep down what are you thinking about? Impurity. Therefore, a person convinced that he is impure will remain impure only. Vedanta knew this truth of the mind. So what they did? They reversed it at the core. They reversed it at the core, they reversed it. And how did they reverse it at the core? They said, it's not that you have become impure, you have forgotten it. It's just forgetfulness. So, self-realization is remembrance. Self-realization is not becoming. Self-realization is not transformation. Self-realization is a remembrance. That is why so much of qualities of Brahman is given. So much of qualities and properties of Brahman is given to make you remember. These are all the aids that you have to use to remind yourself that you are this, you are this, you are this. Enlightened person, out of Anubhava, he says, I am this. A person in the advanced stages of spiritual growth, Nididhyasana, makes an effort to say, I am this. Are you able to follow? An enlightened person says, no earth, no water, no fire, no air, and no space are for me. Enlightened person says it out of Anubhava, experience. A person in Nididhyasana, wanting to gain that Anubhava, also says the same. A person of Anubhava also says the same thing. A person who wants to gain this experience also says the same thing. Why? Yad bhavam tad bhavati. Meaning, as you think, so you become. Think you are weak, you become weak. Think you are weak, you become weak. Think you are pure, you become pure. It's not from impurity you are going to become pure. Remember Swamiji's example, Brasso technique. Purity is inherent, but it is just superficially oxidized. So give the impurity that value you give to oxidation. Don't take it too close to yourself. Don't personalize with the oxidation so much. Yes, there is an oxidation. There is a covering. We are not denying the fact that there is no covering. There is a covering. But don't give it an exaggerated. But then everybody gives exaggerated value to the covering. What is the covering? I am a ignorance. I am still that person only, sir. And the pride they feel, the pride with which they say, I am low. The pride with which they say, I am ignorant. The pride with which they say, I am impure, itself is an indication they have not yet understood what it is. Are you able to follow? By knowing the nature, you become Brahman. By knowing it, you become it. Knowing what? Are you okay till now? Knowing what? Knowing these qualities. All these words. Now I am going into the verse. Establishing. It's not that I wasn't talking about the verse. I gave the concept of the verse. Now I am going into the qualities, the properties of Brahman. Bhumihi, Apaha, Vakhnihi, Anilaha, Ambaram. Idella 5 elements nude per. Ambaram is space. Chit Ambaram. Adu Setada Chidambaram. Chit and Ambaram. Chit plus Ambaram equals Chidambaram. Ganesh.
Yes, sir.
சரிதா? ஏன்னா அவரோட ஊர் அது. He feels strong. I am from Chidambaram. Chit plus Ambaram. That is why God there is in the form of space. புரியுறதா இப்போ? Why God in Chidambaram is worshipped as space? ஏன்னா Ambaram means space. Bhumihi earth, Apaha water, Vahnihi fire, Anilaha air, Ambaram space. Everything of the matter is made up of these 5 elements. All of matter is made up of these 5 elements. How do we know that all it is made up of the 5 elements? Panchikarana, இப்போதான் படிச்சோம். ஆத்மபோதம். Gross, subtle, everything is made up of these 5 elements. Gross matter, subtle matter, doesn't matter. எப்படி வேணா சொல்லிக்கலாம். But it is made up of these 5 elements. It is made up of these 5 elements only. And these 5 elements are not for me. These 5 elements are there, and these 5 elements are not for me. When I reject the 5 elements, when I am rejecting the 5 elements, I am rejecting everything known and unknown. The Vamana Mahabali கிட்ட பண்ண மாதிரி இருக்கு. Vamana came to Mahabali, and Vamana asked Mahabali, no, the king. He asked the king, 3 feet land. Mahabali said, okay, I give you 3 feet. He said, according to my feet measurement. According to my feet measurement. Mahabali said, he's small boy, how can you measure? I don't know how many of you have observed. பூக்காரிலாம் குள்ளமாக இருக்கிறவங்க தான் பூ விற்பாங்க இன்னைக்குமே. Have you ever observed it? அப்போதான் முழம் போடுறது குட்டியாக வரும். இப்போ நாராயணஜி மாதிரி 6 feet இருக்கிற ஒரு ஆளு கொண்டு போய் முழம் போட வச்சா என்ன ஆகும்? போண்டி தான். That is why that will be there. முழம் போடும்போது மயிலாப்பூர் மார்க்கெட்லாம் போகும். இன்னமா குழந்தைய வச்சு முழம் போட வைக்கிறேன், குழந்தைய வச்சு முழம் போட வைக்கிறேன். Why are you making the child do that? Because that's how. So Mahabali, Vamana said, have you ever observed all this? Mahabali, Vamana said, 3 feet of my measurement. I will measure 3 feet. Mahabali said, what will you get? What will you get if you measure? I will measure. Shukracharya, the Guru, came and said, this person has come to cheat you. Don't get carried away by this Vamana, for he has come to cheat you. Don't to cheat you. God cheat பண்றாருன்னு சொன்னா அப்புறம் what do we do after that? Why then? If he is cheating now, then what to do with the rest? Okay, granted. No, he showed his Vishwarupa. The moment he said granted, no, he showed his Vishwarupa. 2 feet, everything measured. Means all that is negated, the known, the unknown, the perceivable, the imperceivable, all is negated in one stroke. He negated everything. Where is the 3rd step, he asked. Mahabali, you gave 3 steps. No, 2 steps எடுத்துட்டார். Where is the 3rd step? Wise man, that Mahabali, very, very wise man. So even today we celebrate him. We worship him. Yeah. Diwali கொண்டாடுற மாதிரி இது கொண்டாடுற மாதிரி அதை we don't do that, but it is as important as that. Yeah. He bowed down and said, my head. My head is still there, no? What do you mean your head? Technically speaking, he is also included, no, already. Why the head? No. The ego of mind. The ego, the human being's ego is much, much bigger than all this. You have touched all that, but my ego is still ego குறையவே இல்லையே, அப்படியே இருக்குதே. Help me in that. And then what Vamana did, placed his leg on his head. That is what, knowing the nature, one attains the pure. Why I am saying all this is, when he says, when he is removing the 5 elements, what is removed? All that is of the external world is removed. Now when the elements are gone, manifestation of elements have no attraction. Are you able to follow? When the elements are gone, there is no manifestation of there is no attraction after that. There is no attraction after that. There is no attraction after that. And then he continues with few more definitions, indicators. What are the few more indicators? Abiding in the cave. Abiding in the cave. Abiding in the cave means Guhashayam. This Guhashayam word you find in Mundakopanishad. This Guhashayam word you find in Kaivalya Upanishad. This Guhashayam word you find in most of the Upanishads. You find this Guhashayam. Guhashayam means abiding in the cave. That's what in English they say, within yourself. Find it within yourself. Find it within yourself. Find it within yourself. Find it within yourself is what the Upanishadic way of saying Guhashayam. Cave. Abiding in the cave. Cave means a dark place. It is there in the dark place, not known. Abiding in the cave. Nishkalam. Guhashayam, abiding in cave means, Nishkalam is the next quality. Guhashayam means abiding in the cave. Abiding in the cave means it's there. It's there, but not yet explored. It's there, unexplored. It's there in the cave. Somebody who has explored it will know it is in the cave. In the rest of our cases, it is still in the cave, unexplored. Now, explore it. To explore that, you need to explore this, you need the buddhi, the intellect, and that buddhi comes from the shastric knowledge. That buddhi comes from the shastric knowledge. So, abiding in the cave means it is there, unexplored. If you explore it, it is beneficial to you. It is in the cave, and when it is explored, who gets the benefit?
The explorer.
The explorer gets the benefit. Similarly, when you explore Brahman and recognize it, who gets the benefit?
Explorer.
The explorer gets the benefit. Are you able to follow? The explorer is one who gets the benefit. In that sense, Guhashayam, abiding in cave. Nishkalam. Nishkalam means without parts. Without parts. Advitiyam, non-dual. Beautiful quality. Samasta Sakshim. Sakshi. Sakshi, not of a few. Samasta Sakshim. Witnessing the totality. Witnesser of the totality. Sadasat Vihinam. Without existence and non-existence. Contradictory in the neither short nor tall என்ற மாதிரி. It is subtler than the subtle, grosser than the grossest. How can one be subtler than the subtle and grosser than the grossest? That is Brahman. So, Nishkalam, without parts. Nishkalam, without parts. Parts indicates division. Parts indicates division. Parts indicates assemblage. Again I repeat. Part indicates division. Also, parts indicate assemblage. All this is assemblage of 5 elements. That's all. Parts. Various parts put together. Form is what? Whatever you call as a form is nothing but various parts put together. Without parts means it has an independent existence all by itself, which doesn't require a few coming together. The individual is nothing but a few coming together is what we call as individual. What is the individual? The few gotten together. What are the few that gotten together? Eyes, ears, nose, mouth, idella grosser body level. Subtle body level, mind and intellect. All this combined is what? Body is a part. Mind is a part. Intellect is a part. So when we say a human being is made up of body, mind, intellect means the parts. Remove the parts, remove the body, remove the mind, remove the intellect, there will not be an individual after that. I will follow? Just as a car is called a car because it's an assemblage of 350 mechanical parts. When 350 parts are put together, it turns into a car. You can break it up into the component parts. When you break it up into the component parts, you will call it as a spring, nuts, bolt. We will not call it as a car. We will say it is a nut, it is springs, it is nuts, it is bolts, it is air. All put together becomes a form. So what you call as a form is nothing substantial. What you call as a form, there is nothing substantial in a form. It is only the parts, assemblage of parts. Nishkalam means without parts. It is not that Brahman is made up of a few parts. Clear? Some god has one head. Clear? Some gods have 2 heads. Some gods have 3 heads. Some gods have 4 heads. See, Vishnu has 1 head. Vishnu has 1 head. Agni has 2 heads. Dattatreya has 3 heads. Brahma, Lord Brahma, the creator, has 4 heads. Lord Shiva has 5 heads. Muruga has 6 heads. 6 heads. God is not assemblage of parts like that. That is why one God has one head. There will be some other God who may have 7 heads, 8 heads, 20 hands, 40 hands. It doesn't make without parts. without parts. Are you able to follow? Nishkalam, without parts. Advitiyam. Advitiyam. We have seen this Advitiyam any number of times. Advitiyam. Classics where these are all classic. Sakshi, Advitiyam. These are all the classic Vedantic definitions of, indicative definitions of Brahman. That's why this keeps repeating again and again. Advitiyam. Samasta Sakshim. Witnessing everything. Not selectively witnessing. Selectively witnessing is when something is happening to somebody else, I am a witnesser. When something happens to me, I get involved. Yeah. Nammaloda witnessing ella selective witnessing. Samasta sakshi kadayadu. Yeah. Our sakshi is selective. Samasta sakshi, witnessing everything. One of the extraordinary attributes that you develop out of Nididhyasana. A person matured in Nididhyasana becomes a sakshi. He practices witnessing. Witnessing to one's own self. In the beginning you have to start witnessing the outside. You can't start witnessing yourself because it is too close that you can't see it clearly. Everybody is too close to themselves that you can't see clearly. To see it correctly, if you have to see anything rightly, you should neither be too close nor too far. Correct? If something comes too close, you can't see. See, my hand is like too close, I can't see anything. If it goes so far away also, I can't see. What is Sakshi means? The right distance. It's neither too close nor too far away. Now, you cannot start witnessing your own self. Why? Because you don't maintain the right distance. So, wherever there is a distance, learn witnessing from that with the idea that eventually you have to get back to, eventually you have to gain, you have to evolve to witnessing yourself. Eventually you have to gain to that height. Eventually you have to raise yourself to that height. What is the height? The height of witnessing everything. Oneself. The height of witnessing oneself. Then comes Sadasa Vihinam. Without existence, non-existence. You can't say Brahman exists. Existence is a conditioning by time. Existence means it is conditioned by time. The time will vary. The time will vary. Universe came into existence. Means what? There was a time it wasn't there. There will be a time it will not be there. There was a time it wasn't there. There will be a time it will not be there. In between these two it exists. Yeah, so existence is conditioned by time. That's why the Puranic story says, when the Rakshasas prayed to Lord Brahma and they asked for moksha, they asked Lord Brahma, give me moksha, they say. Give me moksha. And Lord Brahma says, I myself is temporary. How can I give you permanency? Because I myself is impermanent. Sat means anything that is existing is conditioned by time. Brahman is not conditioned by time. The very definition of Brahman means, Brahman doesn't mean God. Brahman means the ever expanding. Ever expanding. They say universe, multiverse. And what is the multiverse? You do not know where it is going to end. How much ever you can stretch and know, it lies, something lies beyond that also. First they said Earth, and then the moon, the few planets, and then the sun, and then they thought that's it. Universe, that's why they called it as uni, means one, single. Universe is one. Uni is single, one word, one set. And then they said it is not universe, it is multi. Universe multi. Multi na enna artham? Maybe 100, maybe 1000, maybe 10,000. If you find 10,000, there will be much more than. Meaning what? Transcending human comprehension. Transcending human comprehension. In that sense, the very definition of Brahman gives you the indication that it doesn't have any existence. Brahmandra Varkele, it is included. Are you able to follow? The word Brahman itself, it is included. What is included? That it doesn't have you cannot have a notion of God existing in a particular form. Without existence and non-existence. Without existence and non-existence. Non-existence to an ignorant. Non-existence to an ignorant. For the one who knows it, they will not say Brahman exists. They will not say that. Then what will they say? Samasta Sakshi. It is Anirvachaniyam. Don't ask anything about Brahman. Don't ask anything about Brahman. Don't ask anything about Brahman. But whole Vedanta we are wanting to only about Brahman, no. Are you able to follow? Paramatma Rupam. This word Paramatma Rupam is coming twice in the same verse. Evam viditva Paramatma Rupam, or whatever the Shuddham Paramatma Rupam. Again it comes. Meaning the nature of the Supreme Self. The nature of the Supreme Self. What is the nature of the Supreme Self? Shuddham. Not made up of 5 elements. It is Guhashayam, it is Nishkalam, it is Advitiyam, it is Samasta, Sakshim, it is Sadasat, Vihinam, Shuddham. Whoever knows this as Brahman becomes Brahman. And where do you have to start? In the verse length you have to start this. You have to start this from mantra 15 length varma. Because from mantra 15 it is started. The indicative definitions of Brahman started from there actually.
Yes.
From 17 he started saying I am that directly. But actually the indicative definitions of Brahman started from
15.
the verse mantra 15 itself. So from mantra 15 to mantra 23, nothing but say I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. With this mantra, we conclude the part 1 of Kaivalya Upanishad. Part 1 of Kaivalya Upanishad is concluded with this. Having said all this, there is part 2. That has only 2 mantras. Rende mantra. Part 2 has only 2 mantras. A classic Upanishadic style. After giving the entire knowledge, the student doesn't want the session to end. The student always wants something extra. Innu konja extra something. Little bit, something. So what the Upanishad does, it always gives some, according to the Upanishad, which is called as practical tips. According to the Upanishad, it is practical. It may not be practical tip for that. According to the Upanishad, this will be called as a practical tip. What is it? Mantra 1 and Mantra 2, you will find some practical sadhanas. Practical methods, some practical sadhanas, which we will take up in the next session. Some practical sadhanas. And don't get very thrilled about this practical sadhanas. When what Upanishad will call as practical sadhanas will look very, the are practical aid in this what we will think. For this itself is too much for me. So we will continue with beautiful mantra, that part 2 mantra 1, where he is giving some aids. When we are discussing that aid, we will see what is the mistakes of the seekers and what is it that they should disconnect from. The practical tip of Upanishad, don't forget, practical tip as far as the Upanishad is concerned is, it is there but do not identify with it. Non-identification is sadhana. Again I repeat, sadhana from the standpoint of Upanishad is not running away from it, non-identifying with it. It will be there but you do not identify with it. So what all you identify with, he will say, do not. Are you able to follow the theme of the sadhana for the Upanishads? The theme of the sadhana of Upanishads is not transformation, non-identification. You don't identify. It will be there. You don't go and identify. Why are you going and identifying with it? Ego says, how can I not identify? How can I not identify? I have to modify. I have to correct. I have to change. Are you able to follow? So, non-identification is practical tip. Appadina vana sir, in your day we will finish the Kaivalya class. We will not finish. We have those 2 beautiful 2 mantras we will study in the next session. By the time I could log in and all that, I was getting delayed. We will continue with part 2 next session.